name's Mark Garry. I'm an artist working in Laguna Beach, California, here in my studio, and I'm going to give you a little tour of some pieces that I've got hanging on the walls today. Here we have a piece. It's very thick and kind of rustic, and so with the paint that I make, I'll make it with different viscosities and different recipes in order to achieve a different crack. And so you can see the contrast between this one, it's very thick and sort of longer lines, and this one is more subtle and quiet. And I like how the material can kind of tell different stories and land in different sort of aesthetic pockets. This piece is interesting because instead of it being convex, it's concave. Instead of it being concave, it's convex. It's the inside out of the other ones. It's the opposite. And so as I make these pieces, they all start out as a white material, and then I'll work washes or a combination of acrylic washes and oil paint over the top of them to achieve different looks. Some of the work, I create recipes where the cracking is much less than others. So here would be a contrast between a crack that is achieved in cool weather. In the winter, you have these, that's noticed with these long kind of finger cracks. And then this dried very quickly, and it has materials in it that reduce the shrinkage of the material such that it only cracks on the edges. You'll notice on this crack, there's a tight point that kind of rotates around in how the crack works. That is done by changing the tension on the canvas while the material is drying. So different patterns I can kind of control in the crack. This style of crack is only possible in cool temperatures. It takes really slow drying. These two here feature multiple layers of crack in their different recipes. So this cell right here is the first layer, and gives me big cracks with wide interstitial space. Others I work larger and in various cracks, and you'll see if you look at it, like you can see how the canvas has been stretched to create those tethered corners. So there is some symmetry that is kind of influenced in the way the canvas works. As I move to this side of here, you're talking about fray is to crack as crack is to paint. So I'm fraying canvas, and then I'm putting my crackle paint over the top of it because I wanted to have that fraying as it is to canvas work with the crack as it is to paint. This is just a straight piece that is a collage, and I work in collage as well. And if we walk over here, you can see one that's now mounted but not painted yet. So this is mounted on a thicker canvas, and I will come back in and paint this piece. If we go over here, you'll see some of my collage work. The collage work features some of the handmade paint along with various forms of ephemera that I find along the way. This is my trusty drill press, and I use this to mix my paint and to sieve the material through a sieve that I hold down here, and it goes in these buckets. And then after I get it all cleaned up and sieved and mixed tight, I'm ready for action. This is one of the first crackle pieces that I developed. I keep it here in the studio because it's sort of over curled and it's pretty delicate. I didn't feel like it was sellable, but it's a beautiful example of the intention of cracking, making paint that will crack and shrink really dramatically. This is one of the first ones where it really worked for me. And on this one, while the material was wet, I took a pizza cutter and drew some lines in it. So there's a little bit more of an artist's hand put into this composition. So this piece features patterns from old sewing patterns. So you'll see like this, these graphics come from sewing patterns, and they're that tissue paper. And so I'll work with those information systems that are sort of losing their relevance, and I try to make pieces that employ readily available information systems. It might be card catalogs, it could be sewing patterns, it could be player piano, paper. There's all sorts of things that are leaving the zeitgeist that I like to work with. This piece I wanted to connect the sewing patterns with the sense of it being almost like a quilt. And a lot of my work is a deconstruction of the grid, which quilting does and which this piece employs. This piece here is made out of the boxes that player piano rolls come in. And you'll see like little labels in here. This one's Yankee Doodle. I take the boxes that I buy on eBay and I soak them in water, and eventually they'll all fall apart, and then I carefully unpackage that and dry it out flat and collage with the parts. Again, it's like looking for information systems that have lost, that are losing their relevance, and I'm trying to just sort of repurpose those materials into art. So this piece, aside from it being called If Frank Stella and Robert Ryman Had a Baby, or If Stella and Ryman Had a Baby is actually the name of it, features the fraying of the canvas along with the bespoke paint. And in this one, I tore holes in the canvas and had sort of this reveal. So there's a couple of things going on there. And yeah, it's kind of a combination of the collage and the crackle work coming together.